friends, and welcome to another colour along. Today we are colouring Christmas Gifts, which is a page out of Serendipity. Christmas Gifts is a lovely scene in, I guess, the Serengeti. This very happy and generous rhinoceros who's knitting gifts for all her friends. Her friends look a little bit confused because obviously they're hot and they don't need a scarf or a woolen vest. I have a sheet of paper, a sheet of acetate under this page because I'm going to use some markers. And I was going to start with this sun and this sky, create this background, and then have all the fun parts of colouring in these little dudes. So that's the plan. I'm going to start with this colour called Primrose, which is a really light yellow. And I'm going to just leap on in. Going to leap on in and get a glow around this sun happening. I was tempted to do the whole sky like oranges and reds, but I think I'm going to take it to the blues. So I'm going to go with a light blue, with frost blue. Let's see what that gets us. The frost blue is a little light on. But it's going to work. I hope you'll forgive the band-aid on my thumb today. Inevitably, before I'm going to video, I wound my hand horrifically. And today's no exception. So it's covered. Looks worse than it is. I didn't need to inflict it on you guys, did I? So a band-aid was the good option. All right, we're going around this little sun. I want to just blend that a bit. I'm going to do another circle of this frost blue. As you can see, I'm struggling. Come on, little frost blue, you can do it. All right, now I'm going to go around here. Well, frost blue's given up the ghost. That's all right, we'll keep moving, and I'm going to bring in now a light sky blue. And that's going to be where we end up, which may cause a little bit of discon because I was going to blend it with that frost blue. I'm going to try and contain this guy in the tree shape. Bring my frost blue back in, see what we can do. I just want to blend the edge of this pastel blue. Well, it's not a pastel blue, is it? It's a light sky blue. And back to my frost blue just to blend that. Giving my little frost blue a rest between uses. Hopefully it can refill a little bit. Now I'm leaving all this because that's all sort of sectioned off and I can do that in parts. So this is my next big section I need to keep moving into, and I shall do that with my light sky blue. Well, this is my first of the December Colour Club pack colour alongs. And there is a bit of a Christmas vibe going on with a lot of my colour alongs. Well, I'd say all of my colour alongs this month, and I don't think that's a bad thing. All right, bringing my frost blue back in, just to try and blend that line. All right, I was tempted to blend this out to the edge, but I think I'm just going to have a blue edge. We'll just leave that as a line. That'll work. Let's get in my frost blue. See if I can blend that little part. Hopefully your frost blue has got a little bit more ink in it and you can get those blends a little bit nicer than I've got them. Even if you don't, it's still fun. Alright, I'm going to get a little bit of this frost blue up here just to complete that sort of circle around the sun. And I'll bring the sky blue back in. And a bit more blending. If you guys don't know yet, there's a Facebook group, the RJ Hampson Colour Club, that I've just set up. And a heap of you have jumped in. And we're all doing a advent calendar as we roll into Christmas. Giving it away for free to members of the group for the month of December, so it's still available there. I'm up to day 3 now, so it's sort of cool. It's just fun to see everyone's different take on each of the little illustrations. There's 25 illustrations rolling into Christmas, just to get us all in the mood. So if you're not there, why not come along, join us. It's on Facebook. Now this is my light sky blue. I don't have to blend this, I just have to fill colour. Alright, now I'm just going to fill in all the little parts of the sky. Now I'm going to use my fine nib, because if I use my chisel nib, I'll just fill in everything blue. And this is the light sky blue. This is a darker of the blues we're using for the sky. Phew, we've got our sky in. Now let's look at that sun. I'm going to grab that primrose that we used for this glow and colour that. Into the sun, but I'm also going to bring in something a bit brighter, primary yellow maybe. I'm going to do a pale cream. And a primary yellow. Sort of mix those up in there. All right, I'm just going to do the foliage. Let's get that foliage in of those trees. I'm going to start with a leaf green. And I'm thinking I'll do this leaf green at the tops to indicate... Actually, the sun's behind it, isn't it? So let's do the leaf green sort of there, and then the porcelain blue is a bit darker. So we'll do that sort of... So the sun's lighting up the inner rim, if that makes sense to you. Back to our leaf green. I'm going to swap between the leaf green and the porcelain green. Use the leaf green to blend it a little bit, but not too much. I was hoping to get sort of an olivey, that dull sort of green you'd get in an African savanna. I've used those little indicated lines just to work out where to put my colours. And come back in with the lighter, the leaf green. And back to our porcelain blue. And our leaf green, just bring that in. Feel free to blend it a little bit. I'm making the leaves on the inside the light leaf green and the leaves on the outside the porcelain green. All right, we've got one little more section to do, so let's get into it. And the leaf green. Oh, I've got some little leaves that are floating around. I think I've got them all. Unless they're leaf green, they've got some of these little grass stems down here. All right, I think I've got all the leaves. All right, people, let's look at this tree. Let's look at the trunk. I've got a caramel. I've got 3 browns here, actually. I've got a caramel, a mahogany, and a chocolate. I'm going to start with the caramel. It's the lightest of the chocolate, of the colours I've got. Not the lightest of the chocolate, it's the lightest of the colours that I've got. Let's just play with a little branch out here. Put some caramel in it. Sounds nice, doesn't it? Caramel and chocolate. And we can bring some of the mahogany. Even some of the chocolate. Oh, it's a dark tree. Some would say too dark, but I think it's going to dry a bit lighter. And I might have gone a bit overboard on the chocolate. So let's just go with the caramel for now. Look at this little zebra. Now these little crew of African animals have been in a few books now. I think this was the first one they appeared in. And I think they're also in hide and seek, but they're in like a masked ball, so they're all wearing masks. And more recently they're in Winter Wonder. And the elephant was having a dream sequence where all his friends were stuck in a snow globe, looking bewildered. There's a lot of bewilderment going on with these animals. There seems to be a constant state that they're in. It's really a whole lot of fun to draw them. All right, now I'm just going to bring in a little bit of that dark. This is mahogany while it's all still wet, so it'll sort of blend nicely. Because you don't just want a flat colour, you want to as much as you can, you want to add in texture and light and different shades of colour, which can be a challenge with these markers. And I'm going to bring the chocolate in as just a little bit of a darker, vibe in amongst that. So maybe not quite so much of the chocolate, but All right, I'm going to keep going. This is my caramel again. And of course, we can come back in later and add in all sorts of detail with pencils and things if we want. And sometimes it's nice just to go with markers, especially as we're rolling into Christmas and things are getting busy. I just might keep going with that mahogany while it's all still a bit nice and wet. And I'll put some of that under this tiger. Oh, it's not a tiger, what is it? A leopard. Right, back to my caramel. All right, bringing the mahogany back in. Back to the caramel. I was sort of hoping I could do this in caramel and chocolate rather than mahogany, but I think the chocolate's just too dark to go too overboard on. I'll just have to eat the caramel and chocolate instead. All right, I'm bringing some mahogany just for the shadows. All right, let's look at this sand that they're all sitting on. I'm going to do some of the colours in the sky in the sand. So this is our primary yellow that we used up here in the sun. And let's just start that off. Try and keep that line in play. Then I'm going to bring in this colour called Pale Cream. So I want that primary yellow, pale cream, maybe some more pale cream, and then I'm going to go down to the primrose, this light colour here, around the edges. That's the plan. Let's see how we go. Back to the primary yellow. I love how worried this little zebra is looking. All right, this is the pale cream. Primary yellow. Pale cream. Let's just go to that line for now. Look at this spaghetti legs going on here. You can pick where's the leg and which isn't, which is a gap. I think that's all. I don't know what's going on there. And I drew it. Goodness me. I guess I could sit and dwell on it for a moment, but I've got wet markers that need to be blended. I can't do that. Back to the primary yellow. All right, I'm going to get pale cream just in these little spaces with the fine nib. Let's follow it. Legs, 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 gaps. I think I got it right. All right, so let's play with this a little bit. So I sort of want to, I don't want to square it off, I just want to sort of have it sort of wrapping around like this. Sorry, this is my pale cream. All right, let's bring that primrose, that really light yellow that we used around the sun. Primrose is what it's called. And we just want to blend out a little bit. Don't want to go beyond this line, but I don't want to follow it so much. Sort of get light and flippy. And I'm going to bring that pale cream in just to fill these gaps in. I left them till last because I wanted to work on all that while it was still wet. Which seems to be the key to alcohol markers. When you let them dry, it really matters. All right. I've got this colour called Rose Beige, and I'm going to put this colour on that little headland or butte or mesa or a little mountain in the background there. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to drop in a little bit of caramel. Now let's just get that rose beige happening here too. It'll just help bring some richness and texture into this little front bit here. Yeah, that's going to work great. And I'll do the same here. Sort of help add to our shadows and such. And I don't mind getting a bit textural and having sort of dabbing it, spotting it a bit. All right, let's look at this chair. Why don't we do it the same colour as this? So let's get caramel in. Really want to base this illustration in the earthy, so give it that sort of African earthy vibe. All right, that's caramel. Oh no, that wasn't caramel. What was that? That was rose beige. What even am I doing? All right, let's get some caramel in. I promised you caramel, guys. It's not going to hurt us. We'll just use it as highlights. That's what happens when you hold too many markers in your hand. Everything gets a little mixed up. I'm just going to bring a little bit of mahogany. All right, we've created a fantastic background. Now we get to do the fun parts, which are all these little fantastic animals. So let's start with this leopard. And I think he's going to be an orange colour. We already have our rose beige, but I think maybe we need to go even oranger than rose beige. All right, I'm going a little bit out of the park. I'm going to go with a Carmine Red, which is a little pink, but that's all right. Look at that hanging arm. Pretty cute. All right, so I've got a bit of Carmine Red. Now I'm going to bring in my rose beige. I did play with a little bit of orange in my head, but I just think it's too much to bring like a bright orange in. So I'm going with these more muted colours. Yeah, I think what we might do is bring in caramel for his spots. And what's happened here is I've missed a bit of the tree under his chin. So let's colour that in the caramel. And I think we need some mahogany in there as well. All right, I've got powder pink, and I just want to do inside his ears, on his nose, that powder pink. And I'm going to enhance that a bit with this colour called Light Rouge. So I just think it was a bit too not pink. There you go, Light Rouge, beautiful. All right, let's look at our giraffe. I'm going to put some primrose into him. As a base. And we're going to work back in with some deeper, darker colours later. I'm a bit worried that he's going to disappear because we've got that yellow background, so we'll have to make sure that doesn't happen. Primrose is good because it's a bit lighter, so we're going to stand him out. All right, I have some Tuscan orange. And I'm going to gently try and bring some of that in. I'm going to leave his underbelly, like the underside of his neck. And sort of his snout, sort of do that. Come down here, I'm going to leave the spots because I'm going to make them darker. And I want his underbelly to be that light primrose, so we'll, but his legs, all right, let's bring in that primary yellow. That can help us be like a blend between the underbelly. Something really dark, so let's go, where's my mahogany? I think that might be dark enough. If not, we can go to chocolate. And I think that's going to be fine. So this is mahogany. I think the tops of these are dark, aren't they? Well, they are now. I'm going to add in some little spots on his legs. And some shadow on that back leg there. And I think I'm also going to do his feet nice and dark in that mahogany. And a little bit of powder pink inside his ears, under his eyes, maybe around his nostrils a bit, and on his snout. And I'm going to add some eyeballs, just because he's looking a bit vacant there for a moment. All right, where's my powder pink? I'm going to blend here. Excellent. Right, let's move on to another animal we have. This little zebra. Now, I think we're going to do some black stripes, but I'm not going to use black. I'm going to use a grey. What sort of grey am I going to use? Let's use yellow grey 140. Let's do that. All right, yellow grey 140. And I'm just going to get the stripes, the zebra stripes. Yeah, this is yellow grey 100. Yeah, let's go for some powder pink on his little nose and in his ears. I think maybe even around tops of his hoofs. And I want that yellow grey 100 for his tail. And whilst I have got it, let's get the light rouge on the just to sort of highlight little bits in that nose, bring out those pinks, those lovely pinks. A nice light yellow grey. This is yellow grey 010. And we're just going to add in little bits of shadow, because I don't think a white zebra is necessarily going to be pure white. I certainly can't colour it pure white because it looked like we'd missed. So I'm going to add in some of that texture, some of that colour, and bring back our 140 yellow grey for his hooves. 1051. Just to add in some shadows and bits and pieces. All right, and I'm also going to add in just a little bit of an indication of eyeballs, because they're looking a bit vacant. All right, let's do the same thing with all these little critters. And we'll make him look up. Just dots anywhere in the eye towards what you want those animals to be looking at. All right, let's look at this little elephant. I don't necessarily want to do all of these things this in grey, but I think the elephant could be good as grey. So let's kick off with yellow grey 051. This could be too dark. I'm just getting this one on yellow grey 040. It's a bit lighter. Now this is yellow grey 020. This guy's showing a little bit of midriff. Nice. Right, now yellow grey 1, yellow grey 051. Actually, I don't want that. I'm lying. I want the 040 yellow grey. I'm going to work down. And I'll leave some of that lighter grey showing through. Do the same thing here. I'm going to bring back that 020 just to sort of blend that in a bit. Right, and I want to bring in some of that red carmine. I'm just going to put in a little bit of colour in those eyes, maybe around the end of the snout here. I think maybe this belly could be showing a little bit of pink. And I did colour in my eyes, so I'm going to just quietly put some white back into those eyes. Right, yellow grey 100, just for the toenails. All right, again, look at this rhinoceros now. I'm going to do yellow grey 010. Well, it's not a rhinoceros, is it? It's a hippopotamus. A little baby hippopotamus. And this is yellow grey 010. Let's play with that for a moment, and I'm going to bring in that carmine red again, because I think this hippopotamus needs a little pink snout. Pink ears. I think it's going to have another pink belly. And inner thighs will be pink as well. So let's bring back in that yellow grey 010. I love how he's just looking at his scarf going, what on earth? And he's wearing a pair of flip-flops. Yellow grey 020, just a bit darker. Yeah, I'm just going to put a little dabs of that light rouge in his nostrils there, maybe around his lips. And we'll bring that carmine red back in just to blend it back out again. But we'll leave a lovely little residue of colour. All right, let's put in a little bit of yellow grey 040. Right, all that's left now is our rhinoceros. And we've been using our yellow greys. I think we use some blue greys. Let's bring some blue greys in for our rhinoceros. Or green greys. Maybe the blue greys, 030. Oh, they're pretty blue, aren't they? Might be too much. Green grey. We'll get those green greys and we'll play with those. All right, we've got a green greys. Let's go with the light one, green grey 010. Get straight onto that horn. Or those horns, as the case may be. Now I think we bring in some powder pink at this stage. And let's go green grey 030, just a little bit darker. And get that light green grey back in. Just going to blend it all a little bit. And a bit of powder pink. A bit of green grey 030. And I want to put a bit of powder pink in here. And on the tummy. And the green grey 010. Just want to blend that in a bit. I don't know if you can hear. My neighbours decided to play tag with me on whippersnippering, so I apologise for whippersnipper sounds that may appear. Green grey 030. All right, let's go with the green grey 080 for the little fingernails and toenails. And a little bit in there, maybe some under the eye. I'm going to do these toenails too in that dark green grey. All right, now comes the fun part. We get to colour in all of their little clothes. So what do you think? Think blue maybe for this. I'm going to get that light sky blue and give her a little blue outfit, frock. And this is some smoky blue, We'll just use that to get some shadows in there. All right, back to our light sky blue. And back with our smoky blue, we're going to indicate shadows. Which would be under this chin for sure. And under here. And while I've got that out, I'm going to do some of these balls of wool in that blue and smoky blue colour. And smoky blue for these sandals. And light sky blue and we'll do some smoky blue as well. Let's do some mallow for this little bonnet. I'm going to leave the lace white and some deep lilac just to add in some shadows. And I have some deep purple patterns on there. Beautiful. And while I've got these two colours out, these mallows, I'm going to do this scarf in a mallow. And the deep lilac. And we might do a yarn of wool in there as well, that deep lilac. Why not this one? Now let's do mallow and deep lilac on this. All right, I'm getting some strawberry pink in. And I think she's knitting with strawberry pink. Now I'm thinking this guy is going to have strawberry pink on his vest. Just isn't quite long enough to cover his tummy. And I'm going to bring in some of this. It's called Garnet Rose. Because I really want to texture that up a bit to look like it's been knitted. And we'll put a little bit of Garnet Rose on here as well. And some strawberry pink trousers on our hippopotamus with that Garnet Rose. I think while we've got these colours, let's do some baubles in that colour. And there's some primary yellow for this little star. All right, let's do some green, some leaf green. Our rhinoceros has picked some very vibrant colours to knit all of her presents in. So it's leaf green, and this is a porcelain blue, which we used. I think some leaf green pants wouldn't go astray on this little elephant. Some more bloomers than pants, aren't they? Some leaf green bloomers and some porcelain blue for shadows. Let's get our yellow grey 010. So I'm going to leave this white, but I want to have a bit of non-white to just blend that in. Maybe we do a leaf green tree. And we get our mallow. Let's do some mallows. Some deep lilac. I'm going to do these flowers in that colour too. Alright, let's do this basket in a rose beige. And maybe a bit of caramel. All right, let's look at these clouds for a minute. Yellow, grey, 010. And I just want to do the underneath of the clouds. Hopefully give them some dimensionalities. All right, bringing in some jelly roll. This is a 10 jelly roll. And we just want to highlight things. Now, if you felt inclined, you could, I guess, bring in some coloured pencils and play with that. Really hone down the details a little bit at this stage. But I think I'm just going to leave it as a marker yellow. Sometimes it's fun just to do that, especially as we're rolling into Christmas, things get busy. You just want to have a quick fun colour. Don't necessarily want to spend 4 hours doing something. I'm going to make this little lace, got a bit of bleed on it, so I'm going to make them white, nice and white. I'm a bit worried that zebra's looking. It's all right, little zebra. Everything's going to work out. All right, so maybe some highlights on this tree. What do you think if I try and get rid of the outlines on this cloud? All right, I've got a Posca. It's yellow. This could all go horribly wrong, but I just think that keyline could be fun to lose as well. All right, I think we shall call that complete. That's Serendipity, that's Christmas gifts, and we're kicking off December colour-alongs with a Christmas-themed illustration. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember to like and subscribe. If you don't have all the books of the things that I'm colouring in December, that's all right, because you can grab the Colour Club pack, digitally downloadable from rjhampson.com, just for a handful of dollars, and you can colour along with everything I'll be colouring in December. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will no doubt see you in another video, but for now, I am going to say goodbye. See you later.